Hi, everybody. This is Avrohom Czapnik from the Jewish Learning Exchange in Los Angeles. I hope you and yours are well. Unfortunately, Hamas's inhumanity is constantly on display, from the killing of the two infants, from making a whole display of thousands of Palestinians cheering as the bodies are being returned to Israel, and for not even returning the mother of the child and putting somebody else's body there. On the other hand, God's miracles continue. Bombs were planted on buses that would be taking people in Israel around, and thank God they blew prematurely when the buses were just in the depot and nobody was hurt and no one was on the bus. We might continue to help and protect the Jewish people wherever they may be all the hostages, and the bodies of the deceased come home soon. It's an interesting question that we have to ask, and that is, we know that the acts we do here are kept in account in heaven. The positive things we do, the mistakes that we make, the negative things that we do. So is that just for after 120 years where our souls go up to heaven and we're judged? Or is there an inter-reaction between that world and this world? Not only after 120 years, but even before then. So I'd like to share two stories, one a personal one, and the other one a most amazing story. My parents of blessed memory had two sons, and they had a dream one day that a great rabbi, the Imrei Emes, one of the Ger Rebbes, a Hasidic rabbi, came to them and said, Mazel Tov, you're going to have a boy. My parents were not expecting at that point, but they agreed that if they would have another boy, they already had two, if they had another boy, they would name him after this rabbi. And sure enough, the baby was born, and it was a boy, and they named him Avrohom Mordechai after the Ger Rebbe, the Imrei Emes, who had told them that they're going to have a boy. And by the way, that's me. I'm named after the rabbi because of the dream that they had, that he came to tell them you're going to have a boy. A most amazing story related to, in this subject in a totally different way, related to a mitzvah in this week's portion. The mitzvah talks about treating widows and orphans well, is a story that happened with a dean of one of the yeshivas, great yeshivas in Jerusalem, Rabbi Yosef Dov Rebberal Halevi Soloveitchik. And he was on his deathbed, and he told his wife, Rabbi Yosef Lobler is not here. She didn't know the name. Who is that? She looked around, asked around, didn't know. And the next day, this great rabbi passed away. But she asked her children if they knew what the story was all about. And they found out the following. The brother knew the story. He said, our great-grandfather was a student in yeshiva back in Europe. He was known as the Beis Halevi. That's the name of his work, Rabbi Yosef Dov Halevi Soloveitchik. And he came home from yeshiva one day and says, I can't learn from this rabbi anymore. And his father said, what happened? He says, someone who could be so insensitive to an orphan, I just can't learn from him. What happened? What happened was the rabbi had made a contest, and he said whoever got the highest score would get a prize. And two boys got the highest score. They were tied. One was the son of the wealthy man, and the other was a poor orphan. And the rabbi said, who am I going to give the prize to? I'm going to give it to the wealthy man. He's the one who's supporting me. And he gave the prize to the wealthy man. And young Rabbi Yoshe Ber was devastated by this. How could he be so insensitive? His father knew that his son was right, but he knew that he wanted his son to still continue, for the short term, continue learning with this rabbi. And he decided to help out. And what he did was, on his own, he purchased the prize, gave it to the rabbi, and the next day the rabbi came in and said, yesterday there were two winners, I only had one prize, and now today I'm going to give it to the other one, and he gave the orphan the prize. So the son didn't realize that his father had instituted this whole this whole thing, but at least now there was peace, it was quiet. Both boys got the prize they deserved, and the rabbi's esteem was a little bit raised in the student's eyes, and he continued studying there. What had happened was the student, one day, Rabbi Yosef got very sick and he fell into a coma. And they thought he was gone, and he woke up and he was fine and he got better. And they said, what happened? He said, the angel of death was coming to take me, and Rabbi Yosef Lober, the father of that orphan, came and told the angel, stop! This young boy tried to help my son, the orphan. You can't take him yet. You cannot take him to heaven. And because of Rabbi Yosef Lober, the angels said, you're right, and they left, and they let me live. So his great-grandson said, there's no Rabbi Yosef Lober, meaning to say he saw his death was imminent, and there was no one to come in his, to plead on his behalf, to make it, to stop the angel of death from taking his life. And that's what he meant by it. So here we see an act that was done by a young boy in defense of an orphan, had an impact in his life to save his life when he was supposed to die at a much younger age. And this is an important lesson for us. Yes, the choices we make impact our lives in this world because of having purpose and meaning in our lives and doing good things, and which lead to other good things. But we need to understand that we're connected to heaven, and God is the ultimate CPA, celestial payback accountant, and he decides what rewards we're going to get when, in this world or in the world to come. And our actions can make a real difference, not only in heaven, but in this world as well, and can change our destiny and our future. Have a wonderful Shabbos, and may we be so conscious of our actions that, in fact, the destiny, our destiny of ourselves, our families, our communities, and the Jewish people be changed for the better all the time. All the best. Have a great Shabbos.